All right, welcome to another video here from the Juryo division, the final match of the day in the Juryo division, in fact. And I believe they're going to throw salt one more time, so I think I'm safe. One big advantage of watching the Abema coverage, because I flipped over to NHK just to see if they had, if they were going to talk about Tochinoshin today. They're not even showing coverage. Like, I saw one match and then it cut to news. Obviously, if you follow any world news, you know that the G7 summit is happening in my backyard over in Hiroshima this weekend. And so they're literally, the news is on and they're watching a plane land from France. I'm assuming the French president is on board or something and about to get out. And they've interrupted sumo coverage to show news, which they often did on NHK, and that will never happen here on Abema. So that's nice in a way, like I'm never going to get superseded for an earthquake or whatever happens. But here we go. Gonoyama undefeated 6-0 against Oshoma 5-1. Gonoyama's a Juryo 1. Oshoyama's a Juryo 4. Gonoyama's on the left. Oshoma is on the right. All right, so Gonoyama did what he needed to do. He's at Juryo 1. Will definitely be going up to the top Makuuchi division in July, unless the wheels completely come off the bus and he loses every single match from now until the end of the tournament, which I don't think is going to happen. I will let you guys watch. I'll just let it keep rolling here and let you watch the dohyo-iri for the wrestlers. We have a Yokozuna dohyo-iri for the first time in a while. We had no Yokozuna competing for a while, so it is only 3:45. But they're already basically, if you want to call it that, I love the dolphin with the toothbrush on that Keisho Mawashi there. They're getting started with the top division. So if you ever go see live sumo, don't think 4 o'clock is safe. You really want to get there, find your seat and everything at least at 3:30. If you want to, go buy some food and do some souvenir shopping, you should probably plan on getting there around 3. And so you plan on spending, from 3 to 6 p.m. there. And of course, when you come out, especially if you're at the Kokugi-Kon, it is quite a cattle call to get out of there right when the sumo ends, because everybody, goes for the exits. It's going to be 10 minutes before you get out of the building. And then, of course, depending on what kind of transport you want to take, everybody goes over to the train station. So that's just packed. And getting a taxi can be tough, etc., etc., etc. So plan accordingly if you ever go see live sumo. This is the top division wrestlers walking in, and a lovely one on Tamawashi there with the butterfly there. That's a really nice. So these big aprons they wear are called Keisho Mawashi, and they are often very expensive. They're paid for largely out of the money that's generated for a top division wrestler from his support group. Every wrestler in sumo has kind of a fan group that's not just like a fan club like you and I could join and, pay $10 or something. And you have to be fairly wealthy. I think it's at least $10,000 approximately a year to join. And, they have one or two fairly wealthy. It's kind of like a Patreon. They have some patrons who want to see them do well and support them, and they get invited to parties and stuff at the stable, and of course if they ever win the U show they get to go to the special behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, and so one of the things they often do for them is they buy them this special apron, which I think they can cost between like $6,000 to $8,000 because of all the embroidery and the silk and everything like that. If somebody knows more about this, I'm kind of talking out of memory, Feel free to leave comments and correct me if I'm way off, but I think that's correct. There's Asanoyama. He is undefeated and going for win number 7 today, and Kachikoshi tomorrow if he wins today. So let me just really quick go back to Juryo as you kind of watch in the background the other set of guys walk out and give you kind of an update on who's where. So Juryo 11, Tamashoho is at 6-1, so he's doing very well. Anybody else? One loss. Atami Fuji, the Juryo 8, 6-1. The only man he's lost to, in fact, was Ochiai on day 1, and he's won his next 6 in a row. Ochiai, you probably watched the video. He's now at 7-0 and undefeated at the top of the leaderboard. Bushozan, you probably saw that in the video as well. That was a doubleheader. He went to 6-1 by beating Shimaazumi, who's now 5-2. Azumaru got his first win. He's now 1-6, and he beat Aqua, who's also now 1-6. So two guys that are struggling a lot down there in Juryo. Roga went down to 5-2 because he lost to Shonanumi, who's now 5-2, and Shonanumi is the other Juryo 1 wrestler. And then you just saw the match between Gonoyama and Oshoyama. Gonoyama won to go to 7-0. So it's him and Ochiai tied for the lead, undefeated. And Oshoma, the Juryo 4-man, is now 5-2. So I think there's only 2 men. Let me just double check. Bushozan, no, 3. Atami Fuji and Tamashoho, who are 1 off the pace at 6-1. So it's a pretty fun race down in the Juryo division yet again. I'm enjoying watching Juryo more and more. Enho is the Juryo wrestler who hasn't fought today because he is fighting in the top division in the very first match. He will fight against Myogiru, the Maegashira 14, and Enho is 0-6, so he definitely needs a win. Myogiru is currently 4-2, and I'll probably just make that a doubleheader because right after the Enho match, Asanoyama fights Ichi Yamamoto right at the beginning of the first half of action. All right. This is 7 minutes long. Why don't we just let it keep running until we get to the Yokozuna dohyo-iri. And there you go. And sometimes Keisho Mawashi are advertisements. So obviously that one is paid for by a sponsor. And sometimes that is part of it too. Sometimes it's scenes from their hometown. Sometimes it's, like I don't know exactly what that bird is, why that bird is special for him. But there you go. Who was it? I think it was Koto Oshu used to wear one that was about yogurt or something. Sometimes they get sponsored by a company. And so that's a big part of their Keisho Mawashi. That one's fairly plain in my opinion, but others of them are very intricate and interesting. So Koto Nawaka fans there going a little crazy. Hoshoru has this lion design, and it's even got some English on it. Can we read it? The something lion, the triumphant lion, I think it said. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And there is our Ozeki Takakeisho. Now, 2 of the guys are not in this grouping. And that would, he didn't climb up those stairs very well. Is he a little injured? And we'll have to find out. 2 of the guys are attendants for the Yokozuna. So they will come out with him. He gets to pick who he wants to. One guy carries a sword, and another guy, what does the other guy carry? Oh, I can't remember. We'll find out in a moment. And they kind of come out and are his wingmen during the Yokozuna dohyo-iri. So they don't march out during this. And I remember, I think it was Terutsuyoshi or somebody used to do it. And he always used to be, when he was down around Maegashira 14, he would have to do the Yokozuna dohyo-iri and then run back to the Stakubeya, take off the Keisho Mawashi and put on his regular Mawashi and then run back to do his match. And it was always kind of funny, I heard, to watch him scurry about because of the timing. If you're scheduled for one of these very first matchups, you're back in the dressing room trying to get ready. There is a small break between the guys now stepping off and the guys coming out to have the very first match. The judges sitting ringside are the judges for the first half. They switch at halftime. So in the top division, there are 20 matches. There's normally 21 because there's normally 42 wrestlers in the top division. But of course, we've had 2 pull out. Ichinojo retired and Takayasu pulled out of the tournament. So, oh, and then somebody else, right? Hold on. Tochinoshin was down in Juryo. Let me see. Because Enho's up, so somebody else must be fighting. Let me see here. Chotomats. Oh, Wakataka Kage. I'm forgetting about Wakataka Kage. Okay. So here we go, and you can see it's Meisei and Midori Fuji. Midori Fuji's in Terunofuji's stable, so that makes sense, and he's the one. The other guy is called the Dew Sweeper and the Sword Bearer. Okay, so the Dew Sweeper doesn't carry anything. He just goes up with the Yokozuna. I wish there were commentary or something on this, but there'll just be crowd noise.
Midori Fuji, 行司は式守伊之助であります。
Special rope that he wears only for the Yokozuna. And he does have a Keisho Mawashi on, but it's somewhat obscured by all the rope tassels that look like lightning bolts. Now, believe it or not, there was a time in sumo, and some of you have been watching long enough, where we had 4 Yokozuna. We had Haramafuji, Hakuho, Kakeru, and Kiseno Sato. And for, I think, 1 or 2 brief basho, because Kiseno Sato pulled out with an injury very quickly after he became Yokozuna, and then only ever fought 1 more time. But we had 4 Yokozuna dohyo-iri every day. Each one of them do it if you have multiple Yokozuna. And so that was amazing. I never got to go live and see that when that was happening, but that must have been something. So yeah, if we get 2 Yokozuna again in the next few years, you'll get to see 2 of those back to back. But it's just nice to see 1 again after not having it for a while. What was I saying though about before he came out? About absent Rikishi. So yeah, so Wakataka Kage, Ichinojo, Takayasu, meaning we have an empty slot, which is why Enho is coming up from Juryo. And then looking at my phone and just checking and double checking for Wakataka Kage's name, I see that Endo, the Maegashira 7, has pulled out of the tournament today. So Endo at Maegashira 2, he was 0-6. So obviously something is wrong. He's pulled out of the tournament. So Sekewake Hoshoryu will get a walkover free win later today, and I'll announce that again as we get up close to that match. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Come on back for the top division action on day 7.